So on the left-hand side, we got Fabio, as we just indicated, and on the right-hand side, we got Daniele. We got all of the cards that they drew into.
My word, I'd like to see who's going first on this, because although there's a Raigeki right there and a Vanity's Emptiness and a Tour Guide there, really, really strong opening for Fabio. Daniele has got the
Clifford
Scout, the
all
Trample Links, and the Disc, and an Upstart Goblin just to add a few more resources. Now Fabio is going first.
With a Tour Guide from the Underworld. When that card came out, it was a big deal, but not right away, because it was lacking some very good level 3 Exceed monsters, rank 3 Exceed monsters. But shortly after, especially when Zenmanes was released,
Yeah, you got
this changed
Zenmanes,
completely.
Ghost Trick Alucard.
Leviair.
Yeah, Leviair. Just so many rank 3s that were just fantastic.
And Leviathan Dragon as well. All right, so this is the opening that we have seen quite a few times this weekend from Fabio, with the Burning Abyss going for Dante, Traveler of the Burning Abyss, and he's not wasting any time.
Graph gets sent to the graveyard. The 3 mills, an Alex's, but that doesn't really matter. Graph should be getting its effect as well, meaning that another Burning Abyss monster is going to be special summoned.
And there we go. That's a Skarm.
Yep.
And a very good opening for Fabio, and he's not done yet. He can, well, actually he is done. Looking at his hand again,
he's basically going to set the Vanity's Emptiness and the Mystical Space Typhoon. It's going to end there, knowing that he's going against Cleefort.
Yep, and this is the first time we have seen him on the stream. He's one of the only 2 players that we have seen this weekend that are running the beginning of the end.
Yeah, the beginning of the end, a very, very powerful card.
If you are able to activate it.
And Burning Abyss, we've seen we've seen a Burning Abyss player run out of deck. So
yeah, that was one of our favorite moments.
He has hit the Vanity's Emptiness.
All right, so that is very good news for Daniele. Now he follows it up with a Pot of Duality. That will deny him any special summons this turn.
But he has he's getting the sacrifice that he needs. Now, there is a Mystical Space Typhoon down there that's going to get rid of his Scout.
Yeah, that might not be the sacrifice that he deserves, but it's the one he needs.
It's definitely, clearly the card that he needs, yes.
All right, what about the Trampolines? We have seen that sometimes popping up in just 1 copy, sometimes 2 copies. What do you think about that card?
Trampolines is a brilliant card. It's just an absolutely fantastic card. It basically allows you to search with Scout twice in a turn.
And there is the Scout that we just mentioned. Let's bring that up for you. At the moment, most important Pendulum monster, I would like to call it. But there's an MST. So the 50-50 that Daniele had with his MST, trying to hit his opponent's MST, was expecting that, I guess. Hit the Vanity's Emptiness instead.
That's not to worry, because basically what's happening here is a Disc is going to come down equipped with a Sacrifice, ready to let him search out another Scout.
So there is the Disc. And you might be wondering, how is it that he can summon a monster with 2,800 attack? Normally these guys are tribute monsters. Well, it is a tribute monster. However, you can normal summon it without tributing any monsters.
Four stars with 1,800 attack there. Now, milling top 3 drops an Alec into graveyard. Doesn't really matter because there's no effect on the Disc currently. Although if he negated the effect of Disc would then be at 3,100 attack and would then stay at that.
Yes. And Fabio, he can definitely make a big push here with the Raigeki actually being quite important, right?
Yes. Now it will give him a
if this is
sacrifice search.
Yeah, but if this is the first time in a long time that you're watching Yu-Gi-Oh!, yes, Raigeki is back.
Raigeki is back. It's not been back for long, but we missed it.
So 7,200 life points to go. Fabio has an opportunity to destroy the only protection that Daniele has. That means if he finds a way to deal that much damage in that 1 turn, we might already have the first victory in the finals. And after that, he just needs 1 more win, of course, to become a YCS winner and follow in the footsteps of Marcello Barberi from Italy. But Let's see if he can identify that line of plays. He can play the beginning of the end now. He does have 7 monsters in his graveyard on his second turn.
Yep.
So much for, oh,
Burning
can
Abyss.
you... yeah. Can you actually trigger that effect? Yes, on my second turn. Ooh, okay. So he has to banish 5 of those dark monsters. And I'm not quite sure if you guys are hearing this, but in the background, the Italian audience is celebrating this game.
Yep. Just the pantomime cheers.
And
cheers.
Is that a soul charge that Fabio drew into?
It is, yes. After just removing 5 of the monsters from his graveyard, though.
Yeah, step 1, empty graveyard. Step 2, draw soul charge. Step 3, feel bad about yourself. So, well, he doesn't want to go. He does have a foolish burial as well, and a tour guide. He didn't normal summon this turn.
No, he hasn't.
No, so that means he can go for a 3rd Dante, and that's going to be 7,500 damage, isn't it?
I believe so.
So this should be some easy math, unless I'm forgetting something. I think, did he trigger the first Dante in this turn as well? Yes, that was like the first thing he did this turn.
No, I don't believe that there is actually a...
This is when it gets confusing, when you've been moderating the stream for like 16 hours yesterday and then another 12 hours or something today. Not quite 12 hours, but 9 hours. And Fabio trying to identify the play that can get him, that's gonna clear the path to victory here. And does he go for it? That's the big question here. There's the foolish. I think he goes for it. I think this might be it.
Yeah,
it looks very much like this is going to be it.
Graph into Calcab.
So he only needs 1 more high attack monster. And Daniele is... There's the Raigeki. And he's still searching. So, yeah, because at the moment Fabio doesn't have lethal damage on board. But he's... As we can see here, he's still got the tour guide, and
yeah, he's just asking, is that going to be...
Yeah, is it you want to search, or shall we just go on with the next game? So, Fabio Polito, first time we have him on the stream, by the way, winning his first match ever on the stream, and he's just 1 more victory away from becoming a YCS champion. Now, in between games, both players are allowed to switch cards from the main and the side deck. They can exchange cards between those 2 decks.
Yep. Now, for Fabio's side deck, there's a Flying Sea.
Yeah, which is excellent in the mirror match, but not so much against Clifford.
No, not at all. There's also the Maxi. Maxi only really getting one draw out of him because Pendulums only count as 1 special summon. Majesty's Fiend, definitely. Yeah,
Majesty's Fiend is going to stop quite a few. Non-fusion area is great against Shadows, of course, but if
really
he desperately has to make room, he can remove the upstart goblins.
And the Pots of Duality would also be an option. Now, he's just drawn into a Skill Drain, a Night Beam. I believe that's a Carrier, a Summoner's Art, and we'll just see what that last card is there.
Yeah, it's going to come up in our app in just a second. Fabio, on the other hand, I guess that Daniele is going to go first here. And we had seen this quite a few times this weekend when Clifford, normally the biggest problem for this deck is if it's denied its scout plays. I was about to say scout planes, but that's a different card.
It's technically it's a plane. I mean, yeah,
that's true, yeah.
It's a plane. Oh, it was Pot of Duality. Now, here comes the Summoner's Art to get the Scout.
And yeah, this means that Daniele is at least getting 1 activation out of the Scout before Fabio can shut it down. Let's take a look at his hand here. He does have a Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, which can interfere with Daniele's plans here. Other than that, a Solemn Warning is, of course, also strong.
Oh, there's the Shadowing Imprisoning Mirror.
Yeah, and it immediately gets added to the hand. I mean,
there was no choice.
This 1 card that is on its own locking Fabio out of the game. And let's
That
go
was a helix.
back to Daniele's hand, which is going to be shrinking in just a second.
So all he has left in hand now is a Night Beam.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, he is setting...
Setting the Night Beam, interesting.
No, he's not. It's just taking a second.
It's just taking...
Yep.
So this is his field prior to those two sets, and there we go. Skill Drain and a Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. That's a 50-50 for Fabio in a way. If he
field.
And he doesn't have a Mystical Space Typhoon to get rid of one of those cards right away. So this looks, from the first turn, this looks pretty good for Daniele. But things can change in just a second. With Yu-Gi-Oh! Being such a fast, fun and exciting game. Fabio's a little bit puzzled here. What would you be doing here with this opening 6?
Well, you've got your tour guide, but you're kind of assuming that you're going to get Shadow Imprisoning Mirror sided against you when you're playing Burning Abyss.
Yeah, he knows that there's a Shadow Imprisoning Mirror face down.
Somewhere in there, so he doesn't really want to waste the effect. He's got Sir and Graf. Technically, he could still special summon both of them and make a Dante. That wouldn't be stopped by the Shadow Imprisoning Mirror.
Yeah, and then the question is if he seems to go for that, which seems like the only real option he has. And if he attacks, then the Skill Drain could get flipped.
Yes, and could be dealing quite a bit of damage. That was the one play that we believed would have been the best play for Daniele, as we thought that he had a Skill Drain down for the longest time.
I think he did have a Skill Drain down at one point. It's just, I think it was MST'd or something, and just quickly activated to make sure that one of his monsters went up to a higher attack, which is something you pointed out earlier today.
Now he's actually looking at Zen mains. It would be an interesting play.
It's a very conservative approach, and I don't think it would be the worst idea. I mean, he doesn't know about the Skill Drain. Just go for Zen mains.
And it's not just Skill Drain that's the issue.
Zen mains attack, and now I do think we're going to see a Skill Drain flip.
Well, he's either going to let it happen and then... We'll see. Okay, he said attack, he's just checking his hand, thinking about it. I could do this, I could do that.
Yeah, let's
I'm a man of mystery.
Skill Drain for you guys.
There's Skill Drain.
He is attacking Skill Drain, so Zen mains is not going to stay on the field. Daniele loses 1,000 life points, but Fabio's also going to lose some life points, and his monster as well.
Now, looking in Danielle's hand, it looks like if he catches either... Well, if he catches the Solemn Warning, this could be his game with his Night Beam.
Yeah, and looking at the back row of Daniele, this is so much hate that he has here.
Yes, it is.
I mean, this is almost like a stun deck.
And that's a compulsory evacuation device there that he's just drawn into.
So that is excellent for him. He goes for the carrier, and there's... Fabio doesn't even... Does he attempt to negate it with Phoenix Wing Wind Blast?
Nope, he's not bothering.
That is very interesting. Would you... maybe he thinks that the Skill Drain or the Shadow Imprisoning Mirror are the bigger problems.
Yes.
So he's saving the Phoenix Wing Wind Blast for that. The thing is, if the Night Beam would actually hit the Wing Blast, that would be really, really huge.
Yes. Now he's getting a shell out there and then playing it because it's now just a 2,800 attack monster.
Yeah.
It depends whether he's going to try and stop that with the Solemn Warning.
Yeah, but if Fabio goes for the Solemn Warning, there is a chance that
he's going to lose anyway.
Yeah, with so few life points remaining then. I mean, he's going to... Yeah, there's the Solemn Warning. So just 4,800 life points remaining for Fabio after that Solemn Warning activation. And I think we're going to see a Night Beam now.
Yeah, there's
and that Night Beam might already be game here.
No, he's just attacking.
There's no follow-up, really, for Daniele.
No, he's setting the compulsory evacuation device, meaning that there's nothing that he can now do.
Yeah, but he has done quite a bit already.
Yeah, there's a Foolish Burial
coming from the top. That yeah, so Fabio's left with 2 cards in hand and nothing on the field. And he knows that there's a Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. And even if he were to... I mean, Tour Guide doesn't do anything with face-up Skill Drain on the field.
Nope, and Foolish Burial isn't doing anything because Shadow Imprisoning Mirror was set.
So all of this disruption that Daniele was siding into and drawing into as well, which is also important. Sometimes you simply don't see the cards that you're introducing from your side deck. Stopped Fabio from doing anything in the second game, really.
Yeah, now he's looking at his side deck again. Maybe he's thinking, Is there something else I could be changing? No, he's put it back down. He's happy with his choices. Now, this is the last game, the final game of YCS Milan 2014.
Yeah, and Fabio, his whole demeanor changed a little bit here.
The last game. And sometimes that does make players make mistakes.
All right, so this is it. The last opening hands are being drawn, and we're going to have them for you in just a second with our 2 volunteers standing behind those 2 players, cards in hand.
Ooh, basically 3 scouts in Daniele's opening hand with skill drain.
And the Summoner's Art. Let's bring up Summoner's Art one more time.
He also has a Mystical Space Typhoon.
Yeah, it says add 1 Clifford Scout to your hand.
Which is not as bad as everyone thinks, actually, now that he's drawn into a Mystical Space Typhoon. Now, tour guide from the Underworld coming down, more than likely going to be getting a Scarm or a Seer due to the fact that there's 2 graphs already in hand. No, he's going straight for the graph.
So he's out of graphs.
Yep, he is basically out of graphs. He's going to turn that into a Dante, and graph should then go to the graveyard.
That triggers one of the 2 effects of graph. 3 effects, in fact.
Yep.
And allows you to special summon another Burning Abyss monster from your deck.
Now he has hit the Seer that he needed to hit as well, and the Scarm in there as well.
Wow, those are some great hits, really. This is very important for Fabio. He really needs to get all of that, because looking at Daniele's hand with those triple Scout, he's definitely going to find the tools he needs. So if you give the Clifford deck time, chances are time is going to run out on you.
Yeah.
Not the other way around. All right, but let's take another look at Fabio's hand. What about...
He's going to be going for, probably at this point, the Seer again.
He's definitely going to find the tools he needs. So if you give the Clifford deck time, chances are time is going to run out on you.
Yeah.
Not the other way around. All right, but let's take another look at Fabio's hand. What about...
He's going to be going for, probably at this point, the Seer again. Sealed, then special summon the Scarm.
Yeah, all of these Burning Abyss monsters, it's running, the whole deck is running like a well-oiled machine, and it's very, very hard to stop. Like, the few cards that we've seen this weekend was a Flying Sea, for example, that could get introduced from the side deck that can interfere with the plays of the Burning Abyss player. But other than that, there's really not much, is there?
Daniele isn't actually running the Flying Sea either. It's actually Fabio that's running Flying Sea. So he's not even going to get a chance to see it.
And you can't help but feel sorry for our volunteers that are taking down the cards that are flying on the table and leaving the table.
Yeah.
They're just taking down the materials, and suddenly there's Virgil on the field, and it just continues like that.
Now, there's a Mystical Space Typhoon right there, and also I believe that's a sacrifice. So, Mystical Space Typhoon probably should be played right now to try and get rid of any sort of disruption from what Daniele can do.
Yeah, especially now, since Daniele doesn't have any targets on the field. So normally you expect something like either a Mystical Space Typhoon or like a Phoenix Wing Wind Blast in the back row of a Burning Abyss monster.
That's correct,
player.
yes. Now, there's also that skill drain there, which is a massive threat. He plays the Summoner's Art to get a Scout.
So he's definitely going to end up with a very big monster on the field.
A huge monster.
I can say spoiler alert, this is definitely what's going to happen here. Why does he not immediately just do the second search?
He doesn't have to. He's just checking the graveyard thing just to make sure that there's no tricks that's going to go off, because of course Dante's effect is going to activate and Seer's effect is also going to activate.
Right, so this is Fabio's hand. So some action coming next
Okay.
turn with a tour guide, unless Daniele sets, and I think we can assume that this will be the case, the skill drain. Clifford Carrier being summoned, equipped with the sacrifice.
Skill drain being set, along with that second Summoner's Art, I believe.
And well, that concludes the turn for Daniele, doesn't it?
It does. Now he is basically just trying to bait an attack by the look of it.
Well, I mean, there's definitely going to be an activation of Virtual first, right?
Definitely. He's going to try it. Skill Drain's going to stop it.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is. If he doesn't stop this, then bad things are going to happen. There we go.
There is the skill drain. 1,000 life points, but that's a very, very small investment for Daniele here.
Especially because now he has a 2,700 attack monster that cannot be destroyed by battle on the field.
Let's bring the carrier up for you again.
And when that's tributed, it's going to bounce a card back to the hand, or back to the extra deck.
Mostly going to be one of those monsters that were summoned from the extra deck earlier. So Fabio sees that writing on the wall. However, he did draw into the one card that solves these kinds of problems for the Burning Abyss player.
Yeah.
It's a Fire Lake of the Burning Abyss. And when you read it for the first time, you might be thinking, wow, such a big investment sending 2 face-up Burning Abyss monsters you control to the graveyard. But then you can target up to 3 cards. So it looks like a very even effect, both players losing 3 cards. However, it's not really the case, is it?
No. Burning Abyss have a lot of graveyard effects, meaning that Fire Lake is not as much of a cost as you'd think.
So how can Fabio get around that skill drain at the moment, apart from the Fire Lake? I think there's nothing, right?
I think that's his only option currently in hand. I think he's attempting to do something with Cowcab there.
Yeah, and even with skill drain on the field, he can of course still exceed summon, and he can still activate the effect of Dante, even though he's not going to get the attack boost, which is part of the effect.
Targeting the face down.
And
returning that summoner's art back to hand.
Why did that one... it's still Fabio's turn, is it?
Yep. It's a Cowcab that just returned the summoner's art back to hand there. That was removed from Dante.
So I'm slightly confused why all those Dantes are in attack position, because I don't see a way how he can...
Oh, he's just attacked to be able to get more Burning Abyss back into his hand.
That's very smart.
It's an interesting play.
He's recycling his cards by...
he's getting another Fire Lake back into hand, so he knows that it's definitely going to get off. Now, what maybe he doesn't know is the fact that, well, he does know that there's a second scout in hand, but maybe he doesn't know that there is that summoner's art right there. So there's going to be 2 searches that's happening next turn regardless for Daniele.
I think he's shuffling the 2 copies of Fire Lake.
Yeah.
That's really comedic.
I think he's kind of trying to say one of these is Fire Lake. You don't know that both of them are Fire Lake.
And our judge must be feeling like, really? It's like, can you tell me what you said here? And it's just like, Hopefully the volunteer did not make a face, so Daniele might be perfectly aware of what's going on here. So Daniele has the Scout, a Summoner's Art, and a Pot of Duality in hand. Is he going to activate the Pot of Duality here? Or is it too much of a cost to...
It's quite a cost to not be able to special summon
this turn,
at this point. Okay, so he's paid the 800, and Fire Lake is going to happen.
Yeah, after Daniele has paid the 800, of course.
Yes, exactly as I expected. There is going to be a case of Graf going to the graveyard, activating, special summoning another Burning Abyss monster from the deck to the field, meaning that he is then able to play a second Fire Lake.
That is very, very big. Being able to stop your opponent from going off twice in one turn with the Fire Lake is excellent setup from Fabio, really.
Yeah.
And also returning that Fire Lake. I mean, obviously he saw what was coming. And he knew that Daniele would go searching with Scout first before doing anything else. So he might have been expecting this very series of plays from the last turn on. And this is why he played in this masterful way, I would like to say here.
And the sacrifice getting a carrier.
So So, and the big question is what is going through Daniele's head here. I think he's just going to go one step at a time. So the next play for him is going to be the scout.
Yep.
And when will the second fire lake of the Burning Abyss get activated?
Probably after the carrier is summoned. It's probably going to be a carrier with a sacrifice, but maybe he's going to see that coming and destroy it before the sacrifice can be equipped.
There's the Summoner's Art. That gets him another scout.
Interesting that he's giving that information to Fabio before. Scout paying 800. Are you going to stop it? Not yet.
Not yet. Why would you? So Fabio was aware that Daniele had 2 scouts in hand, so there's really no point in activating the fire lake now.
Yeah, that's correct.
It's also, you're not gaining a lot when you're just destroying 1 opposing card, whereas you have the ability to destroy up to 3 cards on the field.
Well, Daniele had the ability to be able to wipe his opponent's field and then carry on with his scout play. He's just missed out there, basically, by giving that bit of information away a bit too early.
Yeah, how could he have wiped his opponent's field?
Because as soon as he was to play the carrier, knowing that there's a sacrifice in hand, which is what he probably would have got originally, he would have been able to... The fire lake would have come down. Now, he's going to try and pendulum summon here. It depends whether...
Okay, this is when the
fire
second
lake
fire lake gets activated, and this time Fabio doesn't get as much value out of the fire lake as the first time, with Virgil being sent to the graveyard. And the Rubik.
Let's stop the pendulum summon.
Yeah, so Daniele is really... Yeah, he's out of it. I was about to say that just now. He's only got a Pot of Duality, but he attempted... Did he, even if he didn't attempt to pendulum summon, he only gets another monster, another card. And no matter what it is, there's no way for him to stop what's coming the following turn from Fabio Polito with his Burning Abyss monsters.
I'm not quite sure, actually. No, Daniele apparently won at that point. Daniele had a 1-turn kill. Actually...
I missed that.
He was able to...
The second fire lake destroyed those 2 cards.
Yeah. Maybe it wasn't counted as the fact... Right, okay. He didn't declare that he was pendulum summoning.
Okay.
Just yet. So the fire lake was played prematurely, meaning that they all went to the graveyard, and then he played another scout. Scout gets another gets anything. Disc goes onto the side, and then...
Like you said,